I got one other thing I'd like to share with you, and that's how to kill termites. I'm actually talking about subterranean termites. They're dry wood termites and damp wood termites and all kinds of termites. But those that come from the ground, the subterranean termites, are very interesting creatures. And they can destroy your home. This is what's called virgin cardboard. If you look at it, it has one shiny side and one corrugated side. And what you do, several people have seen the original one we did, and they wanted to know how to make it. And I said, that's simple. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this with you today. You take a small amount of boric acid, and or equal, and some flagyl, which is an antibiotic. And you crush up one flagyl and you make a little spray bottle of it, and you lightly spray this cardboard in a 6-foot stretch, lightly on both sides, so it doesn't delaminate. Once it dries, you just simply roll it up. And as you roll it up, you see that it has not delaminated. It becomes a nice little round tube. Now, if you really want to make it fancy, you can get one of these shrink wraps. We got 2 shrink wraps. And you put it in there, and you twist the bottom, and then a hairdryer will make that shrink right around it. If you haven't got shrink wrap, you can use saran wrap. You put a piece of saran wrap on top, and then around the bottom, around the sides, and you leave the bottom open. Once this has been shrink wrapped, you can take a razor blade and cut the bottom of this off, exposing it so it looks like this on the bottom. It'll look like that. The top of it looks like this. Now, you put this in the ground to this level, right there at that level. And you can see it as you walk by as if the termites are there. They'll make mud in there, they fill it all up so they keep the light up. Now, as soon as they begin to feed on this thing, you can add more to it. You can also take one of these, instead of putting it as a roll, if you see a mud tube on the wall or whatever, you can take this, instead of making it into a roll, you can make it into a Band-Aid. And put it over the mud tube and hold it in place with some plastic and self-tapping screws, and you'll find that termites get underneath it, and they come into it real quickly. You can also make it more effective by breathing into it. That carbon dioxide and moisture helps attract the termites to your bait station. I've had people tell me the termites are in the station before I pull out of the driveway. Now, termites feed one another mouth to mouth and mouth to anus. And so when they take this out, it kills all the little tiny microorganisms in the belly. And they literally starve to death. The termites just literally starve to death. Doesn't hurt anybody else. I've also seen termites taken care of by somebody taking a sucker, little Tootsie Roll Pop, sticking it in the ground. Why? It attracts ants. And ants eat termites. So you have natural predators taking care of your termites. But this bait station is a very simple thing to make. And you can make it just purely using salt water. But if you make it too salty, they won't eat it. So it's kind of a thing about how much salt water should I put on there. You put on too much and it's going to delaminate the cardboard. And then you just got gloop, glop. If you do it lightly and you see that the termites are eating it and they're eating station after station that you made, then you made it too weak. If you have it so that it's not being fed on at all, you made it too strong. So that's that balance. And I don't know necessarily that it takes a great deal of skill. I've also used the food grade DE on termite control. When I see that they're in the wood chips around the school or around the home, I just sprinkle this in and work it in with my fingers, just rake it in with my fingers, a little bit all around, wherever the termites are. You can move the bark and you'll find the termites are in there feeding on the wood chips, which is kind of why you don't want to put wood chips around your home. But if you got them on there and you got them already eating the wood chips, sprinkling just a handful of DE on that stuff kills the termites. And it doesn't take a great deal of effort to kill all the termites. I've done just a few of these on a home in Florida. I put it over, made the Band-Aid over the termite tubes, and I put a couple of bait stations around it. I took out the termites for a couple of blocks because their congregations or their communities are interwoven. So it's a very simple way of doing this. Now, unlike a lot of bait stations that termites don't like to eat, they love cardboard. It's like a kid having a hot fudge sundae. They run for it. So if you can make them come to that, it's sort of like I'm telling people, mosquito control can be done very simply by putting nectar in a shade, in a dish, with a little Equal or boric acid. And when they come in there, they'll drink that stuff to feed on it, and they're dead. So it just die there. It's not big. It doesn't cause any environmental harm. It doesn't do any of that. And yet you've got perfect control. People were saying, well, how much cardboard should I have? And I said, well, I'll try to explain. I use a 6-foot section. But it's not like I cut a box for it. I mean, it's a roll. They use this to wrap up, material to ship like that.